I just stood up. I want to plug my device to power. So
All
yeah,
right.
I
Good
am.
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope we are doing very well. Thank you for joining today's cybersecurity session. And we are going to be discussing how you are going to launch your career in cybersecurity. It's not just going to be, talking about cybersecurity, it's going to be a clarity session. And this is being brought to you by Hills and Tech. My name is Iyano Lua, and I am a team member at Hills and Tech, the learning experience manager at Hills and Tech. And here with me is my colleague, Christiana, and also our cybersecurity experts, Mr. Funshaw and Mr. David. As we all know, Hills and Tech is a women-focused platform, a tech platform, even though men are also welcome in our company, but it is more, focused on women. And we train on so many courses that are non-coding tech courses, right? And we also have other courses that you might want to join us for. But today we are going to be talking about cybersecurity. And because our time is already fast spent, I'm just going to hand over to Mr. Funshaw to start the session. Thank you so much, Mr. Funshaw. And I'm going to be handing over to you now.
Thank.
Thank you. If you have questions,
Okay.
if you have
Thank
comments,
you.
please share in the comment section. We are going to pick them and share them. Thank you.
Yeah, what about the slides?
Thank you, Iyanu. Let me share screen now.
Yeah, sure.
Um. Okay. Sorry. Okay, David. Do you want to help me with that?
Yeah, I will pick that, sir. Problem.
Okay. Good. Um. Good. If you're on the PM side of the clock, good afternoon to you. And if you're on the AM side of the clock, it's splendid morning to you. And if you're yet to see the sun, all the same, good morning to you. You're welcome to today's session. We had one last week, exactly 7 days ago, and we're having another one today. Yeah, we shall be dotting the I's and crossing the T's like we did last week. And the emphasis is on bringing to your knowledge with clarity so you can make informed decision on three of our cybersecurity programs. We got cybersecurity GRC, that's governance, risk, and compliance. We got cybersecurity, security operations and defense. Then we got the third cybersecurity program, which is penetration testing and ethical hacking. So, David, my colleague, would be doing justice to, by way of clarity, to penetration testing and ethical hacking. And then I will be doing the presentation on cybersecurity GRC and security operations and defense, otherwise called SOC. I would like by saying that cybersecurity skill set is basically into, okay, do I say it has two sides? Yes, it's split into two. What that means is there is the skill sets for defensive and there's the skill set for offensive. When I say defensive, I mean you protecting the system against cyber attacks. And when I say offensive, it means you launching constructive, coordinated, and legal within the framework of ethical and legal practice, best practices, the aim to identify gaps or what we call vulnerabilities within the security walls and architecture of an organization's information system. So I will be talking more. I'll be talking primarily about the defensive, which should you opt in, you become a blue team member. That is what we call those on the defensive side. You say they're on the blue team. For those on the offensive who like it technical, intrusive, and we call them the offensive, I mean the red team. So for the blue team, you will be employing. Okay, before I go into that, let's take this quick note. It is said here, in right sense, that cybersecurity is not a job. It is an ecosystem of rules. In other words, cybersecurity is beyond. Okay, I am a cybersecurity expert. Does it make up a job role? The answer is no. Rather, within the ecosystem of cybersecurity, there are different job roles. There are different areas of specialization and capabilities. For some people, their strength is in risk management. For some, their strength is in defending systems. The people I called the blue team, the defenders of the system, those who protect the digital system against cyber attacks. And there are those on the flip side whose aim is to identify gaps within the system and will launch attacks ethically and within a legal framework. I'll leave that to my colleague David. He will do more justice. I mean, he'll say a lot about that. So today, we will show you how to choose the right career path. So David, please, the next slide. Thank you. By the end of this webinar, participants will be able to understand the following. One, be able to understand and be able to, you not only understand, you'll be properly informed so you can make an informed decision on which career path to go. Then you would also know the difference between the three programs we are offering for now. Please bear in mind that this is not all H&T is bringing to the table. In the pipeline, we got programs like cybersecurity, AppSec, application security. We got data privacy and protection. Then we got IT audits. Those are coming later on. Please note that no one cap fits all. If you say, okay, I would prefer security operations, along the line, you will see the need for GROC. Or I would prefer penetration testing. Along the line, you will see the, not you may. I mean, I'm speaking David alongside, we're speaking from field experience. You will see the need for security operations as a pen tester. And as a security analyst, you will see the need for GROC as you grow on the job. Also, you would be able to identify which part suits your background. What we mean by background is the field of cybersecurity is not restricted to any background. Unlike network engineering, programming, or software development, there are some backgrounds, there are some fields in tech that your background counts a lot. A very good example, like data science or data analytics. Your background in data or handling figures, most especially numerical figures, counts a lot when you want to master the art of data analytics. I mean analytics, not the science part. But with cybersecurity, your background doesn't count. You might be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, an engineer. There is provision for you in the field of cybersecurity, and we're going to expose that. We're going to show you how to, which applies. So then you would learn what skills are, no, David, the previous slide, you will learn what skills and tools are required in each career path. Then you'll be able to understand the available job roles that you are suited for should you go through any of this training, and the career prospects. Okay, David, the next slide. Thank you. Let's quickly look at why cybersecurity. Why would you want to choose a career path in cybersecurity? There is an ever increasing rise in cyber attack. I must tell you this bluntly and plainly. Cyber attacks will not abate. Cyber attacks will not decline. That's my sound negative. And that is just the truth in plain sight. Cyber attacks are not going to reduce. I don't know in the far future, though change is a constant. But then, within the next, I mean, the nearest future, which might be 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years time, cyber attacks will not reduce. And the reason is because of the emergence of technologies. With technologies, new technologies come in the world of GRC, what we call emerging risk. And because emerging risks are associated with novel technologies, uh, these emerging risks they occur because of vulnerabilities. Yes, gaps in these emerging technologies or these new technologies. And that is what the cyber attacker is looking for. He wants to identify these gaps and exploit them. For instance, we never had what is called advanced persistent threats. We never had what is called um, what do you call this attack? This new attack, supply chain attack. We never had what is called supply chain attack. At the time, we never had what is called ransomware attack. But as technology evolved and as technology became more integrated, these attacks emerged. So there will be continual rise in cyber attacks, and that alone requires competence and skill sets in cybersecurity. Data breaches, ransomware, insider threats, all of these are on the rise. Then regulatory pressures, laws, standards, frameworks, all of these contribute to the ever increasing need for cybersecurity in terms of implementation and in terms of competence. Okay, cybersecurity will be required for implementation because you would need to secure your digital systems, like the CIA of your digital systems, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and the others, like what I call the 5As, N and Ps. You may want to ask what is 5As, N and Ps. Authentication, authorization, audit, accountability, and authenticity. That's 5As. Then the N, non-repudiation, and the P, which we call permissions. Now, all of these are critical elements in the world, in the digital world, that only the use of cybersecurity or the application of cybersecurity would actualize these factors, these security factors. They are all security elements. I take them again because CIA, then the 5As, N and Ps. They are all necessary security requirements in the digital space, be it on-prem or in the cloud. So to actualize or to factor in these elements and implement them, you would need cybersecurity experts to do that. Then high demand for the skill and shortage. The rate at which we are having cybersecurity experts is actually depleting. I mean that cybersecurity experts are churning out is depleting, or let me say is reducing vis-a-vis the emerging risk, the ever increasing cyber attacks, and the demand. I was going through the US infographics, IT skill set infographics, about 2, 3 days ago, and I was dazed by the amount of vacant technological skill set, or let me say technological skill vacancies that are left unoccupied across the 50 states in the US alone. I was marveled. Over 1 million of them, IT jobs that are yet to be occupied. And the same thing too, should you go to Asia, you go to Europe, and some other parts of the world, there is increasing, there's increase in for this cybersecurity skill sets and other IT skills too. Then the salary for cybersecurity personnel is increasing. It hasn't been constant in the last 5 to 10 years, and for 2026, there are projections that salaries and benefits for cybersecurity experts would increase because of the shortage of the skill. Okay, next slide, Dave. Thank you. So quickly, I'd like to take you into the world of GRC, cybersecurity GRC. GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance. I want to believe the word GRC, will I call it a word or an acronym? It's actually an acronym, but the way we pronounce it now, it sounds more like a word. Just GRC is not enough to be a word because There is no vowel in across the letters. So it's just an acronym for a skill set called governance, risk, compliance. But I like to quickly say this, that it goes beyond the three words. The capability goes beyond governance, risk, compliance. Within GRC today, we got audits, we got control, and some other capabilities. Don't worry, come register for this program. I can assure you, you will be adequately served. You'll be adequately inculcated with the competence, the skill sets. So once more, David, help me with the previous slide. You are called the strategists of the organization. You build the shield, the security shield of the institution. You are called the blueprint of security. The peculiar thing with GROC is that they are able to identify gaps and make necessary recommendations, which the likes of SecOps would, the security operations analysts would implement. You can help me now with the next slide, David. Thank you. Okay. So what exactly is GRC? Like I did start by saying is an acronym, and it goes beyond just governance risk compliance. Please let me quickly say this for the records, that GRC is not a cybersecurity concept alone. In fact, it was never cybersecurity from the go. It was actually developed by a group of professionals in the United States under the aegis of Open Compliance and Ethics Group, OCEG. So it was in 2007 that they published a framework, a model for implementing this capability. As a matter of fact, GRC is much more than a capability. It's an integration of capabilities. One of the capabilities is governance, another is risk, another is compliance. Like I said earlier, within that integration, we got audits, we got controls, and some other capability. In fact, technically, data privacy has been absorbed technically into GRC. And other capabilities, functional capabilities within an enterprise are being absorbed now into GRC. Now, the objective of GRC is to integrate these capabilities into a whole, so that the principle is around this concept called synergy. If you know synergy very well, mathematically, synergy means 1 plus 1 can be 11, can be 3, can be 9. That is the mathematics of synergy. It may mathematically or by arithmetic computation, 1 plus 1 should give you 2. But in the mathematics of synergy, 1 plus 1 can give you 11. 1 plus 1 can give you 10, can give you 8, can give you 18. So what the brainchild behind this work intend to achieve is that by integrating these capabilities together, the results of this integration will yield far more should we implement governance independently of risk and independently of compliance. Then you now sum up the benefits. And it's been proven to be very correct. Now, as this concept was absorbed, accepted and absorbed and implemented in business or institutions, the need to now funnel these capabilities into certain assurance-based functions in the institution. Assurance-based functions include the likes of IT, the IT function, which one I mean function, I'm referring to departments, the IT function, the legal function, the finance function, the project function, and a quality control function, and the likes. The need to funnel this capability into this integrated capability into individual function became a necessity. So today we have the legal GRC, the IT GRC, the cybersecurity GRC, the finance GRC, even projects which are temporary endeavor with start and end it, specific outcome, now have GRC funneled into it. So in this light, for this training, the GRC capabilities are being funneled into cybersecurity function. It means what you're coming to master here is GROC within the scope of cyber security. But this is the bottom line. I told you when this concept of GROC came, it wasn't narrowed to a particular function. The design was integrate capabilities together so that the end result would be massive. Okay. Now, the principles of GROC, the principles and best practice of GROC remains the same. Whether it is GROC finance, GROC cybersecurity, GROC in legal GROC or just legal GROC project management, whatever the function, GROC principles and best practices are the same. It is in applying these integrated capabilities that the terminologies now differ. For instance, GROC in the world of cybersecurity would be applying, for instance, risk management. The risk management of GROC in cybersecurity will be cyber risk. Do you get it? Or you say cybersecurity risk? The risk in GROC, should it be funneled into finance, will be what? Financial risk. Should you funnel it into project management, to be what? Project risk. Do you get the concept? So risk management is risk management. It is the application of that capability in individual function that differs. The best practices are the same. So if you are mastering GROC within the field or scope of cybersecurity, the principle applies. You're actually mastering GROC generally, but within a domain. Do you get it? You're mastering GROC holistically, but within a domain. It means you can transfer that skill set into project management. You can transfer the GROC competence into legal, into finance, into IT functions. I hope that is clear. Why it is important, the spate of failures, functional failures in an enterprise arose over time, most especially in the 21st century. And that's when that brainchild, the OCEG, Open Compliance and Ethics Group, saw the need to address this failure. I should give you a pointer quickly. If you remember the Enron case in the United States, year 2000 to 2002, when there was this this meltdown, this economic meltdown in the US, right? The meltdown affected not just US, but had spiral effects on a global scale, just like COVID-19 too. For those of you who remember 2002 very well. Remember the likes of Enron. There are some other names that collapsed. They were very big institutions. Some of them at that time were worth several hundreds of thousands of billions of dollars. But their collapse was so massive because governments and businesses in other climes outside the US invested in these institutions and lost it. So, because of this failure, the need to address governance, risk, and compliance from a single standpoint gave rise to GROC. So come on board and learn more about GROC. The core modules in GROC, what you'll be mastering. I should quickly tell you this: you'll be in the class, you're going to be taking fundamental of cybersecurity. That is where our journey starts from. After it's fundamental, that means we're not taking you straight into the GROC core modules. No, you're going to start your journey with the fundamentals of GROC. That is a primer, a GROC primer. Then that will now lead us to cybersecurity governance. So you'll be mastering the internal instruments of governance, which includes policies, procedures, instructions, guidelines, and so on and so forth. Then you'd also be mastering regulatory instruments of governance, the likes of laws, standards, regulations, and so on and so forth, frameworks, and so on and so forth. The same thing too applies to the risk arm of GRC and the compliance part of it. And that doesn't end there. You're going to also learn what we call third-party risk management. You're also going to learn audits, IT audits or GRC audits. You're also going to learn controls as part of this training. So it is not just the traditional GRC, but by extension, other capabilities you will master, and you will be very much informed about GRC laws, depending on the client, the region of the world you belong. Whether you're in the US, you're going to be trained on the very popular NIST GRC framework and the EU GRC laws and standards, and also the ISO 22, ISO 48, which is a standard which is on IT governance. So you are going to master a lot of standards and frameworks and laws on GRC. GRC jobs are much. Quickly, I should tell you this, and it's very, very interesting, because GRC has come to stay. It has been, please permit me to say, it has come to stay as an integrated capability, but it has been existing or been implemented individually. Governance individually, risk management individually, implemented as a function, and compliance as a function. But today, we have these three implemented as a single function. So, and there are now laws, regulations supporting this integrated whole of GRC. So, because of laws and emerging standards and framework, GRC jobs are sure. Did you get that? I take it again. GRC jobs are sure. Let me quickly guide you how to make informed career choice. Quickly, I'll say that in a few seconds. Any career path that has a law or regulatory standards backing it up or enforcing it, his job will be intact. I take it again. Any career path that has a law or regulatory framework, regulatory standards necessitating it in an institution or in an industry, the job or vacancies for that career path will always be there, because the law requires it. For instance, audits, for instance. There's hardly any country in the world that does not have a law, a local law, necessitating and mandating audits, that institutions should perform financial audits and file their audit reports. Okay, another is tax. Now, tax, every country in the world has at least, not less than 5 tax laws, like sales tax, company income tax, personal income tax, and some other taxes. Even some countries have more than 10, 15 tax laws. And the need to file your tax return with the government is necessitated by the same law. It means tax practitioners will never lose their job. Do you get the picture? Because there is a law, or there are laws necessitating that practice. In the same vein, GRC has come to stay, and there is no region in the world, including Africa, that does not have what? GRC, if not at regional level, GRC laws or standards at regional level, but at country levels, national levels, there are GRC laws and standards. So if there are GRC laws and standards, definitely the job of a GRC expert will never be lost or be not required. No, the GRC man will always sell. And lastly, before I move to the next presentation, AI can never do the job of a GRC expert. I will say that with every sense of responsibility. It is rather the job of the GRC expert or specialist would be seamless with the integration of AI into the tools that the GRC analyst or expert would be working with. So we leave that to the likes of Elon Musk, Jason, and the likes Adela to help us with AI agents that would help ease GRC operational duties. So let's move on, David. Thank you. The next we got here is security operations. This is our next, the second cybersecurity product or training program we got. And this training used to be called SOC. Yes, this program used to be called SOC back then. But now it is called SecOps. The reason is because SOC is a place, not a skill set. Back then, it's the skill sets, the training for the skill set was Christine SOC. SOC stands for Security Operations Center. Technically, professionally, would you call a center? Should it be right to also christen a training program with the name of a center? For instance, would you call a training in project management project manager? Or you say, okay, PMO, project management office is a locale, a physical place within an institution where project management functions are performed. Okay, would it be right to call a training program PMO when it's a place? So those who gave it SOC T1 training, T2, T3, gave it that name then. But now it has evolved into what we call SecOps, security operations. SEC for security, ops, OPS for operations. There's an evolution in the world of tech that every skill set should integrate operations into it. For instance, I'm studying, I'm being trained as a network engineer. That training is now called NetOps, network operations. No, I'm being trained as a financial analyst. It's now called FinOps, financial operations. I'm being trained as a software developer. It's now called DevOps, development and operations. Do you get the picture? In the same vein, too, should you integrate cybersecurity into systems development? It is called DevSecOps, which is development, security, and operations. So we now have ops integrated into different tech competencies. So in this field, you shall be mastering cybersecurity operations. You are the defender. You're the man running the organization's information infrastructure or information technology infrastructure from a security standpoint. The database administrator is running the organization's information technology infrastructure from a data standpoint. The software developer from software development standpoint. But for you, from security, cybersecurity operations standpoint, you man the walls. You monitor firewall activities, intrusion detection, intrusion prevention activities. These are most especially intrusion prevention, firewall. These are perimeter devices. You monitor activities, security activities taking place at the gateway. These are what? Perimeter devices. Your ears and eyes, your digital eyes and digital ears are open, attentively, constantly monitoring and picking necessary data for triage. Thank you, David. For triage purpose, for classification purpose, for investigation purpose, and for response purpose. So that's what SOC is. Security operations is a center. Please note that the security operations center can exist physically or can exist in the cloud, what we call virtual SOC. It means the SOC can exist in the physical structure, in a physical place, and maybe in a room or on the floor of a room, and can also exist in the cloud. We call it VSOC, virtual SOC. But be it on-prem, a physical space, or in the cloud, the activities performed in a SOC are the same. Whether it's the monitoring, the triaging, the investigation, the response, and all of that is taking place in the cloud or it's taking place on the physical network, the principles and practices are the same. Please note also that in a SOC, because it's a center, do you get it? There is what we call an organogram. For instance, in the finance function or the finance department, there will be an organogram, top bottom, using a top-down approach. The top, the highest role on the hierarchy, will be that of the chief finance officer in it. Then at the bottom will be the office of the what? The accounts of finance officers, right? Okay. The same vein, in the project management office, the topmost rank will be the office of the what? The project manager. And downwards, we have the team members, or at the bottom, or project officers. In the same vein, in a SOC, at the topmost role, we got the chief information security officer. At the base, as in operationally, mind you, organogram is in three. The hierarchy of an organogram is always in three tier. We got the strategic tier, we got the tactical tier, and we got the what? The operational tier. Irrespective of the function, every organizational structure cuts across three tiers. Now, at the topmost tier, which we intend you rise to someday as you come into this work, is into this field, is that of the chief information security officer. That is at the strategic tier. At the middle level tier, we got that of the SOC manager or team lead. Then in between the middle to the operational tier, we got what is called the T1 or tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 analysts. Please note that this training is going to prep you for tier 1 entry level. And also note that that does not make you anything inferior or less, because SOC, the operations in SOC are not just technical, they are also professional. So every person working in a SOC are professionals and also technically inclined, very sound. So you are being prepped as an analyst, but SOC T1 or L1 analyst, which makes you a triage specialist. Those at T1 are called triage specialists or triager. Those at T2 are called investigators. They are the skill set there is in the area of investigation, of applying the rules of forensics and some other words, principles to conduct cyber crime investigation. Those at tier 3 are called threat hunters. That's where we have the more of the red team skills come to bear. So by and large, you will be prepped for T1, and that automatically makes you a blue team member. So blue team concepts, skill sets, you will largely master them. And let me also say that every activity in a SOC starts from T1. Even if the activity is to be performed by a CISO, it starts from what? From T1. That is why a CISO would not tell you he never started out as a T1 analyst. Of course, that's where everybody starts from in a SOC. So there are modules you're going to learn in the SOC. We got basically cybersecurity primer, the fundamentals of cybersecurity. Then you master the operations at the SOC. The skill set for SOC T1, basically triage, how to identify incidents from sources like CM tools, SOA tools, EDR, XDR, and the likes. Please join the class. All these acronyms I mentioned, you're going to master them. And then you're going to be working with tools and labs. There are going to be simulations. And then the job role of the SOC analyst is endless. Yes. Why? There are standards, there are laws that mandates and necessitates cybersecurity implementations. For instance, your understanding is as good as mine as far as the financial sector, telecommunication sector is concerned. You agree with me that we can't negotiate cybersecurity, the place of cybersecurity in the finance sector, in the telecom sector, in the oil and gas sector, in the stock market sector, where data, we got large volumes of data. We can negotiate what? The power of cybersecurity. So your job is there. Even in the academic sector now, like in the Western world, basically in the UK, where I'm very much aware that universities now in the UK, tertiary institutions, are now having CISOs, in which we never had in the academic world years back. Some that don't have CISO, the law operating there now mandates them to have a cybersecurity manager. I'm not saying head of cybersecurity manager at the minimum, manning cybersecurity operations within the bank. So if we got, I mean, the institution, if we got a cybersecurity manager for a university, for instance, then it would operate from a SOC or within a SOC. I hope you get the picture. So you see the need why you want to pick SOC. And lastly, before I hand over to my colleague David, who is waiting, I want to say this. You may want to say, I don't like technicalities. No, 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 no. I want it. I am not the technical type. They said tech is tough. Oh, they said cybersecurity is tough or is technical, and I don't like programming. I cannot do with networking. No, no problem. There's a place for you. I love it operational, or I love it administrative. I love it organizational. GRC is best for you. I want to be a cybersecurity analyst, but I don't like technicalities. Please come the route of GRC. You would appreciate it. I love it operational, business operations in the life of cybersecurity. Come to GRC. But I love to use tech, not to develop tech. I don't like it coding. I don't like it programming. No, 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 no. But I still want to be able to use tools. I'm good at using some tech tools. I also want to be able to use cybersecurity tools. You're welcome on board security operations. But no, for me, oh, I love it technical. I like to code. I like to develop scripts. I like to work with solutions that will make me look like, I'm developing solutions myself. And I'll be handing you over to David, my technical and professional colleague. David will groom you on how to use tools like Linux, Kali Linux, and some other cybersecurity tools for penetration testing and for ethical hacking. So at this junction, I transfer you over to David. David, thank you. You can take over from here.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me formally introduce myself. Yeah, my name is David Akondi, and I'm a certified ethical hacking and penetration
Sorry,
tester.
David. I don't know. Hello, David.
Yes, sir.
Hello, David. Your audio. Can you please check your audio? I don't know if I'm the only one not hearing it loud. Uh,
Yes, I can't hear him too. Your audio is pretty low.
it's
Can you
low.
hear me
So
very
you
well?
still want to check the volume?
Yes,
All right.
just a bit.
Can you just
Yes, we are good now.
Okay, I'm good now.
Yeah.
All right. I want to formally introduce myself. My name is David Akonde, and I'm a certified ethical hacking and penetration tester. And I've been into ethical hacking for over 5 years now. Yes. So now, Mr. Fisher has explained to us about the GRC aspects, those that are in charge of compliances. He has also explained the defensive part of cybersecurity to us. So the next phase now is the attackers. This is where the attackers come in. So after the GRC experts, they've ensured organizations follow the right compliance, and the defensive experts, they have done all the security policies. They've ensured firewalls are working perfectly in the organizations. With the attackers, what we actually do is that we come to test how strong those security postures are at that particular time. All right, so let's go to the definition of ethical hacking. So a simple definition of ethical hacking is authorized. You can see that I'm using the word authorized because when you want to become an ethical hacker, you have to do things legally. So ethical hacking is authorized simulation of cyber attacks on organizational assets, or let me say system. And what we try to do is that we try to discover vulnerabilities before cyber criminals do. So when I talk about organizational assets or system, I'm talking about the organization's network, the organization's website, the organization's cloud, the organization's physical assets, the organization's employees. So these are the things that make up a particular organization. So as an ethical hacker, what we try to do is that we try to hack into these assets. We hack into networks, we hack into cloud services the organizations are currently using, we hack into companies' web applications, we also hack into employees. This is the part of social engineering. I believe some of you have heard about social engineering before. So this is the part where we hack into individuals. We also carry out what we call physical pen test, where we try to see whether the physical security of that particular organization is currently working fine. So let's go to the next part, which is the types of ethical hacking. Now, to ethical hacking, I group it into two different parts. I group it based on knowledge or methodology. So this particular part, I group it into three: the methodology part or the knowledge part. The first one is the black hat, or let's say the black box. Don't let me use hat right now. Let me use box. So the black box means you have zero knowledge about that particular system you want to hack into, which means you have zero knowledge about the network, you have zero knowledge about the website, you have zero knowledge about the cloud, you have zero knowledge about the employees in that particular organization. So what I'm trying to do is that you are going with a blind eye to that particular asset or that particular system, and you are trying to discover vulnerabilities in this system before attackers do. So we are doing this legally. So the next one is the white box. So in the white box, we have full knowledge about that particular system, be it IP addresses, be it username and passwords. Every knowledge about that particular system is going to be given to you. So you are going to be going into that particular system and looking for hidden flaws that were not discovered initially. Then to the gray box, you have partial knowledge. You can see gray is just a mixture of black and white, right? So we are going to be having partial knowledge about the system. Maybe what they are going to be giving you during your assessment is just going to be, let's say, the IP address. So with that IP address, you get access into the network doing the same thing. So the goal is that we are trying to find out vulnerabilities and giving reports to the organization and ensuring that they rectify these vulnerabilities before the cyber criminals do. Okay, so let's go to the next part, which is the ethical hacking mindset. So the ethical hacking mindset, tools don't just make you an hacker. I want you guys to know this. Tools don't make you an hacker. What makes you stand out as an attacker or as an hacker is your mindset. You need to be able to think like an attacker. You need to be able to think outside the box. So if you are someone that you love thinking, like without I enjoy majorly, I love thinking, I love stressing myself to a particular extent. I love knowing how something works. This is the best place for you. If you love, okay, you might be asking me that, what do you need to learn programming? Yes and no. For a start, it's not compulsory. When I started ethical hacking in 2017, I didn't know anything about programming. Yeah. And I was able to pen test for close to 3 years without learning a particular programming language. Do you get? But what's going to make you stand out is you understanding how this programming works. Do you get? So how those scripts are written or what those scripts does. Because as a pen tester, you're going to be running a lot of scripts. You're going to be running simulating with scripts, exploit. We call them exploits. I won't be saying I won't calling them scripts. I'm calling them scripts because I believe most of us are we are just beginners. So we call them exploits. So when we discover vulnerabilities in systems, we usually use these exploits to exploit these vulnerabilities. So we have a lot of websites where we get exploits as a pen tester. So we use those exploits to exploit the vulnerabilities. I believe you understand what I mean. We use these exploits to exploit these vulnerabilities. So as an attacker, you need to ensure that you understand what you're actually using. You can't use tools that will damage the organization assets. You can't use tools that will damage the network. You can't use tools that will damage the web application. These are the reasons why you need to have a very good idea of these programs. And I'm definitely going to be taking you guys on that. And let me say this too. With the advancement of AI, now we have AI now. So AI has actually made things very easy for us. So you don't have to be scared that, oh, how do you want to understand this particular program? So you can use AI. AI won't help you to hack, but it will direct your path in ethical hacking. It has actually made a lot of things easy. Let's say there's a particular script that you want to run now. You could copy that script and put it on AI and ask AI that, okay, what does this particular script do? AI can break down this script for you. So that's what I currently use right now. I don't stress myself much. So anytime I'm doing a particular training, I'll introduce my students to adopting AI. AI is here to stay, so we can't do without AI. We are going to, during our training, we are going to be adopting AI in pen testing too. I think 2 days ago there was an update on, I think on this particular cybersecurity news. It was more of ethical, yeah, Kali Linux. Kali Linux introduced AI into their platform. That should tell you that AI is here to stay. So currently, as I'm talking to you 2 days ago, AI has been integrated into Kali Linux. And Kali Linux is one of the tools we are going to be using during our training. So that's that. Now let's now go to the ethical hacking methodology. So methodology of ethical hacking, attackers we don't just do things anyhow. We follow a particular methodology. So I'm going through the methodologies one after the other briefly, so I won't take our time. All right, so the first stage of ethical hacking is reconnaissance. Reconnaissance stage. So reconnaissance stage also means information gathering. So this is when attackers go online, we gather information about our target. Now I've mentioned before that our target is network, web applications, cloud, employees, physical assets. So we go online and we gather information about these our targets. I go on Google, I gather information that, okay, this particular organization, what's the IP address, what kind of how many employees do they have in that particular organization, do they have any leaked credentials online. We have tools where we can check for leaked credentials. Example, Avad Impond, uh, we have a lot of them like that that we're going to be using during the training to gather information online. So that is passive reconnaissance. Then active reconnaissance is when we pick those credentials or those information we gather online. We are going to be using those information to attack that particular system. So if I get a data breach online, I get username and password online, I'll be using those username and password to attack web applications. When I go online, I discover a particular vulnerability. I'll be using that vulnerability, that exploit. I'll be using it to exploit the vulnerabilities that we have in the system. So that's the reconnaissance part. Then the next stage is the scanning and enumeration. So scanning and enumeration is still a little bit part of reconnaissance, but it's active reconnaissance. Reconnaissance are in two parts. They are passive and active. For the passive reconnaissance, we are going online to gather the information. But active reconnaissance means you are interacting with the system and trying to get information from the system. So once you get those information from the system, you discover there are vulnerabilities on the system. Then that takes us to the third stage of ethical hacking, which is the exploitation. Like I've said already, when we discover vulnerabilities online, we are going to be picking those exploits, that's those codes, we are going to be using it to exploit those vulnerabilities. That takes us to the third stage. Then the fourth stage is what we call post-exploitation stage. In the post-exploitation stage, that's the stage we do after exploitation. So that means after we've gained access into that particular system, we've gained access into the network, we've gained access into the web application, gained access into the cloud, then we have to ensure that we are persistent. Persistence means that we have to ensure that we are still we are not kicked out of that particular system. That's the best way to say it. We are not kicked out of that particular system. Let's start an example. You might let's say you might have gained access to a particular network, and there might be a, let's say, a network error, or you have to round up for the day. You can't go back to the beginning again and start all over. So you have to continue from the particular position where you stop. So what we do in this particular stage is that we carry out what we call we create a backdoor. So that backdoor, in the sense that once we create the backdoor and we want to resume our pen test or our ethical hacking the next day, we go through the backdoor. So it's easier for us to go through the backdoor than starting all over again. So that's the fourth stage, if I'm not mistaken. That's the fifth stage, post exploitation. So the fourth stage of the pen test. Then the last stage is where we have reporting. So after we've done all the exploitation, discover vulnerabilities online, we definitely have to give a well-detailed report to the organization. And we have two types of reports. We have the technical report and we have the non-technical report. The technical report is directed to the IT department. The non-technical report is directed to the CEO or the board of directors of that particular company, because definitely you don't understand the technical part of it. So these are the things we are going to be learning during our training program. I'm going to definitely be teaching you guys all these processes I've talked about: how to scan, how to gather information online, how to see information on from dark web. That's how you check whether there are data breaches about an organization online. We're going to be learning everything: how to exploit, how to copy scripts online, how to understand these scripts before using them. So you don't have to be scared if you are interested in ethical hacking, you want to know how to hack into systems, but you don't know how to code. I'm going to be introducing how to use AI to ease the job for you, so that going forward, you are definitely going to start learning how to write scripts yourself or how to understand scripts going forward. Do you get that? All right. So the next stage is the penetration testing core modules. Okay. So I've said this already. What are the things we are going to be talking about? We are going to be doing our training. We are going to definitely be learning all the stages of penetration test, how to scan, how to carry out reconnaissance, how to write a report. Then we're also going to be learning how to use Kali Linux. Linux is most important part of ethical hacking. Hackers don't use, they rarely use, I won't say they don't use. A lot of attackers also use Windows operating system. But Linux is built strictly for ethical hacking. Let me rephrase that. Kali Linux is strictly for ethical hacking. We have different distributions of Linux. We have Kali Linux, we have Ubuntu, we have Parrot, we have SUSE, we have a lot of Linux operating system. But Kali Linux was built strictly for attackers. This is why it's built strictly for attackers is because it has pre-installed tools. You know those tools that we are going to be learning during the ethical hacking program. Those tools come with Linux. Most of them. We're still going to be installing some other tools, but majorly most tools come with Kali Linux. All other types of Linux, they are not really used for ethical hacking. Okay, I think the other one that is also used for ethical hacking is the Parrot. I have friends that also use Parrot Kali Linux. It's fine, but Kali is the most, let's say, user friendly ethical hacking Linux operating system. The Ubuntu and the other types of Linux majorly used for maybe by developers or people that are, yeah, web developers or computer science experts. So we're also going to be learning Windows Terminal. Yes, Windows Terminal. There's more to do with Windows than what we used to do, what we use Windows to do currently. We are going to be learning how to use Windows Terminal. Is also very important. This is why Windows Terminal is very important as a pen tester, is because let's take let's think of it like this. A lot of people are currently working in a particular organization. What type of operating system are you currently using? You are using Windows. So as an attacker, during network pen test, majorly, we are going to be having a lot of systems connected together on the network. And most of those networks, they are Windows operating systems. So let's say I get access into one particular system. I need to ensure that I know how to interact with that particular system remotely using command lines. So we are going to definitely be talking about the Linux command lines, the Windows command lines, and and network fundamentals. Network fundamentals is very, very important. If you want to go into pen testing, you have to understand networking. So definitely I'm going to start with the network fundamentals. We'll be moving to learn Linux terminal, how to use Linux terminal. We're also moving to how to use Windows terminal. Then all these skills we have gathered, we will now use each of these skills to learn each of those stages of penetration testing. That's your scanning, your reconnaissance, your exploitation, post exploitation, reporting. So those skills we've learned, those basic skills, we are going to be using them for these parts. All right. Then to the tools and labs. I've said it already that most of the tools we are going to be using, they are pre-installed inside our Kali Linux. We are going to be adding some tools from GitHub. because GitHub is where we have tools that pen testers use majorly. So on GitHub, we're going to be installing those tools on our Kali Linux. So during the process of learning how to use Linux terminal, I'll also be teaching how to install these tools. And now, after getting all these skills, we have to practicalize. Yes. So we're going to be using labs. We're going to be practicing on different labs. Now, we have so many labs that we can train on. We have Run Up, Act the Box, Try Acme, Act Smarter Lab. I think Act Smarter Lab is also a very new and very good lab. I think just came into existence like a year or 2 years ago. But for as long as you are beginner friendly, since you are beginner friendly, we are going to be going, we are going to be using Runner and we are going to be using Runner and Try Acme. Those are the two labs you are going to be using. Run Up and Try Acme. This one we are going to starting with Run Up is because Run Up does not use VPN. A lot of people might be having network issues. So when we start, we're going to be training with Run Up. Then from Run Up, we'll move into Try Acme. Try Acme has a lot of labs where we can train, and it's going to be very, very, very interesting. All right, so to the pen testing job rules, train part immediately. So we're going to be ethical hacking. Vulnerability assessment can be found inside ethical hacking. So vulnerability assessment stops in the exploitation stage. So if you are a vulnerability assessor, during your vulnerability assessment, what you're going to be doing is the first three parts of the stages of pen test: the reconnaissance stage, the scanning and enumeration, the vulnerability assessment stage. These are the three stages you're going to be doing: the reconnaissance stage, scanning and enumeration stage, and the vulnerability assessment. So what makes ethical hacking different from vulnerability assessment is the exploitation. So as long as you're not exploiting, that okay, the exploitation is where vulnerability assessment stops. Do you all get that? So that's where vulnerability assessment stops. Exploitation, once you start exploiting, then you're already carrying out what we call penetration test of ethical hacking. So who should choose the last part? Who should choose penetration testing? So anybody that wants to, you feel that you want to learn how to attack a particular system, you want to understand how ethical hackers gain access into this system, or you want to test security posture of organizational assets, this is the best place for you. And we promise you that it's going to be very fun and educative. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. David. Thank you for that session about pen testing.
Thank you.
So I believe that we can ask our questions now, right? Is that correct, Mr. David?
Yes, yes, you can ask your question.
All right. So please, if you have questions, if you're on the call and you have questions, kindly share your question in the chat box. Then I also have one from Instagram, which I already typed in the comments section. And it says that the person is a newbie. She's trying to join the cybersecurity class, and she's worried about getting remote jobs in Nigeria. So she said she wants to know how she's going to navigate the space as a newbie to be able to get jobs and not just be overlooked, because so many people think that as a newbie there is always very difficult to get jobs. So she wants to know how to navigate that space. I'm not sure if she's on the call, but she told me she was on the call initially. She told me she was on the call initially. So I believe she's still here and she's going to be listening into the answer. I also know that Ruben also have his question. Ruben, kindly put your question in the comment section. Claire, if you're also here, kindly put your comment in the box. Also, Bella, if you are here, kindly put your comments in the box so that we can take them and we can round up and have a lovely weekend. Class starts next week, Saturday by 10, Sunday by 1 p.m. So let's get ready. The class is going to run for 4 months. So let us get ready to be part of the class. All right, so I'm going to I don't know who is taking that. Is it Mr. Funshaw? Mr. Funshaw, kindly please help us take that question. How should they navigate the remote job space in Nigeria as a cybersecurity newbie? Hello, sir, please can you hear me? Hello, Mr. David, please can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, but I'm not sure you can hear us. I'm not sure you can hear us. I don't know if you can take the question.
All right, what's the question again?
Yes, the question is how can they navigate the remote space as a newbie in cybersecurity? She
All
wants
right,
to be
that's a
able to
good
get
question.
remote jobs, but she's worried. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Okay, sorry, you asked the question. Am I getting again?
Yes. There's a newbie who wants to join the
Okay.
cybersecurity class, but she's
Okay.
worried about how to get remote jobs in Nigeria. So she wants to know how to navigate the space.
Okay. She's based in the country and she wants to get a remote job.
Yeah, she's based in Nigeria and she wants to
Okay.
be able to get remote jobs. Yes.
Let me start by saying that remote jobs are possible, but there are some buts, and I have to be very frank about it. Um, if you can exploit remote job sites very well, you can secure remote job with the right guidance. The likes of there are some job sites. It doesn't look like I'm promoting them. That if you go through their free offer, you may not likely get a job on time. The likes of flexi job, that's a very popular one, and we have some other remote job sites that are sure and are real. But if you are a subscribed or you have a subscription based account, you can be rest assured that you will get a remote job. They will assist you to get a remote job. I can assure you about what I'm saying. But then the kind of job you will get, since you are a newbie, I would advise you come for GROC jobs, they are there. To be very, 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 very assured, go to these job sites. I don't know which region of the world you are looking at securing a remote job. That's another pointer. Whether you're looking at US, US, Canada are always together, Europe, or UK, or Asia. Although remote jobs are more in some other climes other than Asia. So, but this is my assignment to you. For instance, you might be looking at any of these three programs. Go to this job, remote job search, the very valid ones, like Flexi Job, like is it Flex? That'll be Flex Job, they call it, and Indeed and the likes. And search for entry level, or if you can be specific with the job role, you can say SOC tier 1. Even if you do not say entry level, that's the entry level into SOC. Or you can say junior pen tester, or you can say GRC analyst, right? Then look out for the region where you are particular and jobs around that client. Do you get what I'm saying? And the job requirements. Of course, I know people in this part of the world, I mean Nigeria, that are doing remote job and they are doing it very well. They are successful. But I'm just giving you the tips how they got the job. A lot of people don't share tips on how they got some remote jobs. Some got their remote jobs through friends or relatives based abroad. And there are some other ways they secure remote jobs that I cannot say because this is, I'm in a public space. I cannot tell, but there are different avenues through which people get remote jobs, most especially from this part of the world, from Africa. But then, whether you're taking pen testing or you're taking GROC or you're taking security operations, the remote jobs are there. For penetration testing, if you are the technically inclined, being a newbie, technically inclined, I can recommend you go the route of pen testing. If you love it technical, I like to bust networks, bust systems. You know what I mean by busting? Intrude, hack, and all of that in the light of penetration testing. Well, if you like it, no, I like it administrative, management, oversight, then uh, we may want to consider security operations or cybersecurity GRC. But I can assure you that you can secure remote jobs and how to go and navigate it, you will be properly informed beyond this platform. Have I been able to answer that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
You
Okay.
have been able to answer it. Yes, thank you very much, sir. Since we do not have any more questions for Mr. Shion and for Mr. Fisher and Mr. David, I think we can end this session. So thank you everyone for joining. I cannot see our questions, so I believe we do not have any more questions. And if if you eventually think of something, please send it to us via TikTok, via Instagram, email, or via our WhatsApp as well. Just search for us, use and tech. We are going to be happy to take them and to help you clarify all that you need. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Mr. Funshaw. Thank you, Mr. David, for today. We are going to see everyone in class to next week. Next week, Saturday by 10 a.m. Class begins. All right. So take care, everybody, and have a
Thank
lovely
you.
weekend. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.